Are you playing? Hey, what's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of SimplyPodLogical, a Simply Logical podcast.
Hello, everyone. We're back from the vacation.
Back from what?
Collection.
Back from last week.
Back from launch.
Cristine, I feel great. Thank you for asking.
Good. You're okay.
I got my ears cleaned.
Oh, yeah. Now you can hear me. Now you can listen to what I have to say.
I've just been ignoring you for 10 years just because I couldn't hear you. So I went in, some lady cleaned my ears. I just saw a sign on the street, like free ear cleaning.
No, you didn't.
Oh, no.
Stop.
It was a doctor's office. Don't let a stranger put stuff in your ears.
Uh-huh.
But I went to a doctor to get my ears cleaned. You should have seen the stuff that was coming on my ears.
No, I shouldn't have.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't love me anymore.
Would not want to see what's in your ear.
I was like, doctor, I'm going to a concert soon. I need to be able to hear. Can you help me? And they're like, let's go.
They're like, we have a procedure for that.
He brought out this giant syringe and just pumped water into my head.
I know I had that as a child because it's like more common, I guess, when you're a kid to, your ears get clogged because you did too many swimming lessons and like whatever.
I guess you get ear infections and stuff
Yeah,
that way.
yeah. But I have not done any of that as
You should try it. So I've never gotten my ears cleaned before.
Even as a child?
So I had 35 years of backed up cleaning to do.
That's crazy.
It was like an episode of Hoarders in my ears.
Stop! Ew! Like, is that why Menchie likes your ears? It's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, it tastes great, apparently.
Like she like smells like wax or something.
Today's episode is brought to you by Holo Taco.
Woo!
Seen the vacation collection out now.
Yes.
If you want to take a vacation, just buy some nail polish.
Yes, we finally did it. We released a vacation collection and we went on vacation to coincide because obviously that was on theme. The category was vacation for us and the nail polish. But yeah, 5 new stunning shades and a beautiful vacation-inspired island beach palette. Ben helped with the shade names.
I did.
And he didn't really help with the formulas, though, because those were quite complex and new. So it's not his specialty, but the theme was. So yeah, I'm really happy to finally launch some new exquisite, custom, unique formula mixes that include combinations or formulas that we haven't done before. And this is kind of a test to see what people like, see what people vibe with, and then maybe you never know if that can like change the future of what we decide to release next year.
Yeah, and it's also a test of, do we get to go on another vacation anytime? Like, support this collection so I can go on another vacation.
You need enough sales to justify like a part 2, like a round 2.
I think so.
Kind of like how we did like unicorn skins and unicorn like dream, right? Because that was like, that definitely needed a part 2. But now you're like, we need a vacation collection part 2. And he already has the theme in mind. He was like, here it is.
Private Island collection.
No, well, we just had a shade
Trip
private
to the
villa.
Moon collection.
The moon?
Colonize Mars collection.
No, that's a different concept.
Adopt a pet monkey collection.
What?
Yeah, I'm giving you free ideas here.
You had a better idea, but we shouldn't repeat it because we might actually use it.
Those are all great ideas.
Yes.
You could check them out at www.holotaco.com.
They are not there, but you know what is there? The vacation collection. So that's there now. And the box. The box is still in stock. Woohoo! So you can grab the box.
Did you have coffee today?
I had tea.
What was that?
You spiked my pina colada.
We were watching the Mario movie for a second there. Wahoo!
Woohoo! The box is still in stock, which is great news. So you're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So to stay on theme, vacation theme, we were just going to do Am I the Asshole vacation
Love that.
post today.
Yes. Reddit, Am I the Asshole? Let's decide, because the most annoying thing is when people are annoying on your vacation, when you're just trying to find peace and relaxation.
All right. Let's just jump right into
Let's
it.
evaluate the situations.
Am I the asshole for not wanting to split our vacation costs evenly with my friend after she invited her boyfriend without asking me?
Wait, so okay, sorry, read it before I...
You're already angry about this one.
Yeah.
You know what I just realized?
What?
I thought you were speaking really loudly right now. My ears are just cleaned.
When I went, woohoo?
I was about to be like, you're being really loud today. Is everything okay? And I'm like, oh my God, my ears are open.
You're such a boomer. Like, all Oh my God, Ben.
Like, do I have to change the audio levels on the mic?
No, everything is fine. Leave it. You haven't been able to hear this whole time. It's been 10 years.
I have superpower hearing.
Wow.
All right,
okay.
back to the post. So my friend is a 27-year-old lady, and I'm a 29-year-old lady, and we planned a vacation together to a tropical destination. We booked a 2-bedroom villa and agreed to split the cost 50-50. Everything was going great until a week before the trip, she told me she had invited her boyfriend, 28-year-old dude, to join us without asking me first.
Okay, what the fuck?
That's
This
pretty
post
fucked up.
isn't just about splitting costs. This is about like, wait, you planned a trip with your bestie and then she just invites her boyfriend without telling you? Like, what?
I guess they're a package
What
deal.
kind of trip is this?
I was annoyed that she didn't discuss it with me before inviting him. However, she argued that she should be able to bring her boyfriend along since we're both adults and he wouldn't affect my vacation experience. In fact, she insisted that he would be sharing her bedroom so there wouldn't be any extra costs for accommodation. Despite my reservations, I decided to go along with it, but then I suggested that we should split the cost 3 ways instead of 50-50, as there would now be 3 of us on the trip. She disagreed, stating that since they're sharing a bedroom and not causing any extra expenses, that a 50-50 split was still fair. I think it's unfair for me to pay half of the cost when there will be 3 of us on the trip. However, she argues that her boyfriend's presence won't increase the costs and that I'm trying to make her pay more than her fair share. Who's the asshole here, Christine?
I mean,
It's pretty obvious.
yeah, how do I unpack this post?
Unpack your suitcase.
Okay, first of all, it feels like the poster kind of just glossed over or said, like, I decided to go along with the fact that she wanted to bring her boyfriend. I'm not saying it's not possible to, like, you and your friend and their partner to go on a trip. Totally is. But the premise of the trip wasn't
It's
that.
possible, but is it ever a good idea?
Sometimes, yeah, sure. In certain circumstances, if everyone gets along and it was planned that way.
I don't think many people would want to travel their
depends.
friend, and their partner.
It totally depends on the relationship and the vibe and whatever.
Well, it depends
But
who's
in this-
wearing an upside-down pineapple shirt,
Okay,
maybe.
that's not what I meant, Ben. But, like, people, whatever. But, like, in this case, it does appear like her and her friend were planning a trip together that's about the 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then one was like, wait, I can bring my boyfriend for free. And that will totally change the experience
It would
for the friend.
definitely change the trip.
Yeah. So, like, that's my first question.
Yeah,
like,
so-
wait, what is this trip for? Who is this trip for?
Yeah, so the most egregious thing is the friend being like, this won't change your experience
Yes,
of the
it
trip.
would.
Yeah, it
Should be hanging out with her boyfriend, instead of her
unless
friend.
like what is the reality where that statement is true? Boyfriend's there, never leaves the room, the 2 of them never see him.
Maybe they just keep him in the room, like lock him in the room.
Maybe.
And if friend wants to go to the beach, just the girlies go to the beach together.
They could just leave
Yeah.
him with the babysitter all day.
Yeah, he can get room service. That's it.
Yeah, so hypothetically, this could be
It could-
be
yeah,
true. This
right.
seems pretty unlikely to me.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of splitting the room costs,
Yeah.
but not splitting the room costs.
I don't know if splitting 3 ways is necessarily fair, but I totally am on the side of the poster and saying like it shouldn't just be a 50-50 split anymore, I think. Like the argument from friend is, "Hey, we bought a 2-bedroom villa. We were always just going to each have one room of those 2 bedrooms. I'm not asking for more room. So why shouldn't it still
To
be
me,
50-50?
that just seems like squeezing the experience or taking advantage of it because you realize you could have got one person in for free. And that's not really fair. Like, if I think about this in a roommate situation, if you live with a few people, you're all equally dividing the rent.
Yeah.
And then one of those people has a partner that just, like, basically moves in. And then they try and make the argument like, oh, I'm not going to contribute because my partner who originally lived with you guys is already paying. And we're sharing a room, so I don't have to pay anything. But that's not the right spirit of like everyone contributing because you're all using resources, you're all enjoying the premises and whatever. Not that other partner or extra additional partner needs to necessarily pay the same as everyone else. Like maybe you could have like a little bit of like the 2 people in that room should pay a little bit more than other people individually, but maybe not as much as times 2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
like
they're
I
not
feel
getting a
like you
second
can come
room.
to a compromise because they're still using the resources. The
Exactly.
bathroom,
There's
whatever.
expenses
Yeah.
associated with the apartment that aren't just the sharing
Mm-hmm.
of a square footage of a room. This happened to, I won't say who, but I knew someone this exact thing
Yeah,
happened
me
to
too.
in
It's
university.
happened to me in university.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So when I knew someone this happened to, like, female roommate brought her boyfriend in, and he was just there all the time. There was like no conversation ever happened. They just one day they realized like this guy's just always here, and it was like just a house of women, and all of a sudden there's just a guy there. And then so eventually one of the other girls is like, "What's going on here?" And their excuse was like, "Well, he still has a place. He's just choosing to be here all the time with me, but like he's still paying rent on another place, so he's not going to pay rent here." So they look it
Okay,
up.
well.
He had been subleasing his place for months. So it's like you
Okay,
don't.
that's
okay, you're
fucked.
just a liar.
For
now.
if that wasn't true and he did have and use his place and it was kind of back and forth,
That's still not
it's a
a
little
good
bit of
defense.
like ambiguous though, because you're like you're not sure if you want to move in yet. Like there is that period in people's lives where they're like, I don't
Sure.
really know yet. But yeah, if you're subletting your place, what
Yeah,
the
you
fuck?
know what you're doing.
Yeah, it happened to me too. And someone moved in with their partner in a house where I live with multiple people. And we all collectively said, you need to contribute to part of the rent. So they helped pay a little bit, not the same as like what the rest of us were paying, but like they're using utilities, they're using like the driveway, like all, everything. So yeah. And that's what should be fair. So I feel
I
the
think
same
the
about
logic
this.
applies here. Yeah.
Yeah, someone will probably make a dumb argument like, well, a hotel is going to provide the resources anyway. So like,
Yeah,
they
but-
shouldn't
well,
have to pay.
Well, they're paying for it. Whatever the hotel is providing, it's
Yeah,
because they're
but
paying
the
for
argument
it.
about like the boyfriend not having to pay because the girlfriend's already paid for the minimum of those resources to be available, and they can make some argument like, well, he'll just use half the water or something. Like I don't know.
Well, is he never going to flush the toilet? He's
No,
never
he's
going to
not
turn
allowed.
on the lights.
Yeah, I just think like it's kind of rude
yeah,
and annoying. Like you're annoying if you do this. Don't do this.
To me, who cares about the financial stuff? Although I think we're on the same page
no,
there.
I think that the financial stuff is what's annoying.
But no, the crux of this for me, though, is just like the disrespect. It's
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful to your friendship to just do this. Just unilaterally, yeah, oh, my boyfriend's coming all of a sudden to our
and
girls'
he's
trip.
not helping pay.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's helping her
Even if
pay,
he was,
but not
no.
the
But
friend.
even if he was helping pay, let's say she said, oh, boyfriend's going to come, he's going to pay a third of the cost. Even that to me is
But-
bad friend.
Well, it depends though. Like that might be
She
totally
didn't
reasonable.
she didn't ask
okay,
her.
I know.
She just said my boyfriend's coming.
I know. Sure. We're kind of missing that more context on that piece though. We don't. She just kind of spent the whole time talking about like the finance. But if the OG friend was like, "Oh, your boyfriend's coming and he's offering to pay like a third of it," maybe she doesn't mind that. Maybe she's like, "Okay, like I actually don't mind. That's kind of helpful because I would like to go on this and
But
it makes it
friend
cheaper." Yeah.
who had already booked the trip and planned a trip with bestie should have a say in that.
Yes,
Not just
correct,
be told
yes.
boyfriend is coming.
You're right. It should have been asked and discussed, and then maybe the friend wouldn't have had an issue with it. Maybe she likes boyfriend, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, bring him. He's helping to pay, sure, whatever." But like, I don't know. It depends on their.
You know what you do in this
relationship.
situation? You pull a power move and be like, I'm inviting 3 boyfriends. They're just going to stay in the room
Fucking
with
do
me.
it.
But
Well,
I'm not going to pay
actually,
anymore.
I have 4 boyfriends
Yeah,
that I will be bringing, and they will not be.
They will not be paying a penny.
But original bestie can split it amongst the 5, herself including 5 people, and make that villa super cheap.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
amazing.
they're not paying. What?
No, the original bestie who brings 4 boyfriends along.
Yes.
She can split the cost of her one villa by 5 and end up only paying a fifth. And her friend is paying half if her boyfriend's splitting it with her. Maybe
If
they're
she
not.
finds enough boyfriends, maybe they could just pay for the villa completely and she just gets a free vacation.
Fully subsidized by boyfriends. Yeah. And then it's just a party. all night.
Sounds like
Then there's
female
like 20
empowerment.
people in 2 villas.
All right.
God.
You want to move on?
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for leaving my partner at TSA while I used the pre-check, security line?
What does TSA
Nexus?
stand for? I know what it is, but do you know what it stands for? Travel Security Authority? I'm
Sure.
just making that up.
It's just in U.S. airports, it's what's doing the security checks.
Yeah, it's a security program, but I don't know what it stands for. Travel.
People know what we're talking about.
No,
Why?
there's international listeners who are like, what the fuck is a TSA?
I think people know what TSA is.
I don't know. I would just like to provide context, but unfortunately, I don't know what it stands for, so I failed. Never mind.
Okay, it's just, am I the asshole? Like, in North America, for example, we have Nexus,
It's
a
form
trusted
of
traveler
TSA?
program or something. So when we're traveling in North American airports, there's often a line that's like, oh, you've done some advanced security clearance
You
stuff.
had your eyeballs scanned and whatever.
So here's
government knows
a
everything
line
about
for
you.
you. And it has saved us hours of time at airports sometimes, where like the security line or customs line is like crazy long, and we have a different line for it. Totally worth it.
But you have to do. Okay, we can talk about that after.
You have to pay for.
Yeah. Just read the post because I think they kind of explain.
Okay, my partner and I have been together for 4 years. We travel a few times a year for work and vacation. We both have credit cards that pay for TSA pre-check and clear. While I've decided to enroll in both programs since I travel every few months and appreciate the convenience, she thinks the requirements are too annoying and confusing to deal with, so she refuses to go through the process. That's somewhat fair. They can be cumbersome, but she's a smart person and could figure it out. When we travel, I tend to book our trips and make our travel arrangements, including to from the airport, meaning I put my trusted traveler ID and often have a rapport with the TSA agents since I only fly the same airline, always at the same terminal. I also often travel with my work laptop and use a carry-on, so pre-check makes this process easier for me. You can keep your jacket and shoes on and don't have to take your laptop out, etc. First time we traveled together, 4 years ago, we got to security and I asked her if it was okay if I went through the pre-check line while she does regular security. She said yes, and I met her on the other side. Since the line was so long, I went and got coffee for both of us and waited on the other side. Safe to say she got through the security and was pissed. She said she couldn't believe I actually abandoned her at security, and she only said yes because the question caught her off guard, and she was so taken aback by me asking. Going forward, anytime we travel, I have to go through a regular security no matter how long the line is and stay with her. This often leads to the TSA agents commenting how I can go through pre-check and me having to explain in front of my girlfriend why I can't. Sometimes this upsets her because the TSA agent will make a comment about how that's unfair. One time they made me go through the pre-check line because of how long the regular line was, regardless of my comments to stay with my girlfriend. She wasn't happy at that time either. She likes to point out whenever we travel that one time I abandoned her at security and how she'll never let me go through the fast line unless she gets to go through too. In the numerous times since that we have flown together, I've not abandoned her since. She points out to friends how I abandoned her as well. Most are split on the issue, and a few note they'd let their partner deal with the slow line as well, even more so when their partner has the means to get pre-check. So, for a stupid and petty thing like this, am I the asshole?
I have a solution.
What is the solution?
Get your partner pre-check. Make her sign up and do it.
You can't do it for somebody. Make her. What is he, your fucking dad?
Hold her hand on the computer.
No, she's going to be a baby about it. He should just sail through life in the fast lane.
Really?
Let
I
her
have such
deal
a
with this
different
bullshit.
opinion. I feel like...
Do we?
Yeah, I do.
Why do you think it's his responsibility to make her get pre-check?
Sorry, it's not his responsibility. She should just do it. Also to help herself. Like, it's such a better experience.
Sometimes you can't... Someone needs to be able to...
Okay, but
You
sometimes
can't force someone to help
listen,
themselves.
Listen, sometimes in a relationship, one person is a little more organized or thorough or whatever. You're saying you're more organized?
I'm just kidding.
I'm just like, excuse me.
Pointing at myself.
Like, what are you pointing at? Like,
Pineapple.
sometimes there's one person who's a little more like has the ability to do the admin business. They're a little more like, let me do this administration. Let me fill out this form and I'll worry about it for both of us. Whatever. Like some people are more like that. So if that's this person and their partner was like, I don't want to do it. It's too much work. Cause that's what she said, right? Or that's what was being reported.
Yes.
She's
just too lazy to do it.
Too lazy. Okay. Well, like if I'm the partner of the lazy person, I'll be like, okay, fucking sit down. We're doing this right now. And I will help you. Okay. I will help you do it.
So is that a partner or a child?
There's adults who are like this who don't.
Okay, but
and it's not just like being like a child. Then it's like some people are overwhelmed by forms or they don't understand something. So like I would help them. I would be like, okay, sit down. We're gonna do it together so we never run into this again. And it'll be better. I promise you, it'll be better once it's done and we can go through TSA.
So I respect that. Like in relationships, sometimes people have different skill sets and some people are better at some stuff than other things. And that's fine. And that makes sense for him to do that for her. If that balances out. I just don't think it's sustainable in a relationship where one person is always having to be that person.
We don't know anything about their relationship. I'm assuming they're together for a reason. It's been 4 years or something, right? So...
Yeah, but even the way she like always brings up, you abandoned me at security, like...
Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But like...
I'm sorry,
but I would have done that. I think I would have if I'm the one with the TSA pre-check and you're not, I would have begrudgingly gone with you and just acted really annoyed. I would have been like, this is fucking stupid.
That's not really healthy.
You should get... No, but like I wouldn't have abandoned you.
Oh, that's sweet.
I would have made sure that the next time we fly, we're not going until we get you the proper thing and we get all the stuff done, and then we can both have the better experience.
So I was being a little flippant about this one. I guess just my overwhelming impression from hearing one side of the story is that this person's not really just taking any responsibility for themselves. And that's what I found annoying. For me in this situation, I think a lot of it comes down to the person you're traveling with. Because yeah, if it's me and you, I'm traveling with my partner. Yeah, I'm probably not leaving you in a security line alone. But let's say I'm just traveling with a friend. I'm much more inclined to be like, hey, I'm just going to take advantage.
Yeah, or like a business colleague or something.
Yeah. Or it's like if I have a voucher to go into an airport lounge and someone else doesn't. I'm probably not going to leave my girlfriend alone in the airport. But if I'm traveling just with a colleague I'm not even that friendly with or something, like to me, it's like how close you are to the person you're traveling with kind of helps dictate whether or not you need to stand by their side through the whole process.
Yeah, it also sounds like Poster was really used to traveling all the time for business, and it does feel very annoying to all of a sudden have to do the regular line, especially if it's like 3 hours long and whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought that this was going to say that the partner wasn't able to get TSA pre-check or something.
Oh, that would completely
And that would change everything. Like if there's some reason why you can't get it. But it sounds like it's just because they didn't want to fill out the forms, which like isn't that bad personally. But that's like my POV of it.
You're right. If they had a criminal record or some
if there's something preventing them from getting it, then that's a different story. But if it's just like, I can't figure it out, but the partner could help them figure it out. Like you have someone who's done it before. You have a template.
Do you remember what was the requirements for this? They scanned our eyeballs, asked a few questions.
First of all, I think TSA pre-check is technically not the same as having Nexus.
So no, I don't want
I don't want people to be confused. So TSA pre-check, I don't really know.
It sounds like you got it through like their credit card or something.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Where we are in Canada, you can get a Nexus card, which is basically you have to go do a physical interview. I think it's $50. Yeah.
Just in person.
Sorry, you have to go in person.
You need to get a doctor's physical.
That's not what I meant. But like when we got it, it was $50 for the card, and it lasts like 5 years or something, 5 or 10 years. Mm-hmm. It's not that expensive. Like I think a lot of people think it's like absurdly out of reach.
Maybe we shouldn't tell people how easy it is, because if everyone had it, everyone's in the good line.
You have to give the government all your information. They have to do a deep dive into your parents, your history, where you work. And, like, no one wants to do that, right? So
they need
definitely
a physical.
Don't do it.
They're going to weigh you. They're going to ask you how many boyfriends you have.
It didn't matter for us because, like, the government, when you work for the government, it doesn't really matter. It changed absolutely nothing because it was the same questions that we answered for, like, high security clearance anyways.
Yes.
Not the exact same, but there was a lot of overlap.
I don't think the two things have anything to do with each other.
No. But I'm just saying, like, if we were already had to do that at one point... then it's like, to me personally, it was like, I don't care to do it again because I've already done it.
Government jobs, we had already needed to get a certain level of security clearance.
Yeah, so we repeated the same questions and answers for this process. Not that they pulled.
Not really, but...
Sorry, it's not a one-to-one, but some of the fundamentals were similar, I recalled.
I don't remember the public service ever scanning my eyeballs for anything.
No, not that kind of stuff. But they ask you about, like, your family and where they work and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, here you go. you are whatever.
I've got nothing to hide.
Anyways, yeah, everyone shouldn't do Nexus because then the line would be no different.
Yes. Moving on. Am I the asshole for wanting to solo travel without my partner? I'm a 26-year-old and my boyfriend, 28, have been dating for 1 month. Oh, like you barely know each other.
That's not... What?
Okay. He's going to Japan with friends in August. I mentioned that I might go to Turkey in September by myself because I found a cheap flight. Turkey was an impulsive choice because the flight was cheap. I don't know a single thing about Turkey. Not the history, not the culture, not a lick of anything. I've traveled solo through Central America, South America, and Asia, some trips for months at a time. I enjoy my impulsive solo trips. My boyfriend doesn't understand the impulse to want to travel alone, especially now that we are dating for a month. I invited him, but he would be unable to make a trip in September, so I would have to go alone. Since he has cheating trauma and we haven't been dating long, he finds it hard to trust that I will be loyal. He is also worried about my personal safety. Admittedly, I have a long history of impulsive decisions while traveling. I know his intentions are good and he's not trying to be controlling. I want us to come to a healthy resolution on this. I'm curious if I'm not being sensitive to his position.
So, wait, he doesn't want her to travel alone?
He has two reasons. One, that he's been cheated on. So that's okay. This, first of all, it's not a healthy thing to be like, I don't want my new girlfriend to ever travel without me in case she might cheat on me. Like, that's just not a reasonable or healthy.
She invited him, but he was unable to make it, is what the crux of that was.
The security thing is a little, I can at least empathize or put myself in the position of thinking that, right? If you were a completely different person who wanted to travel alone all over the world to not the safest places, I would struggle. I would be very anxious.
Or just anywhere. It's really not about the location.
No, it is about the location.
Oh, I thought you would have anxiety regardless of where I was going.
So I would have yes. Not over you cheating on me, but just in terms of no, but like some places are way safer than other places to travel.
Okay, but I guess I was
That's
just
just
saying
true.
generally.
There's nothing weird
but
about
I'm not
that.
trying to judge a specific place they were talking about. I just mean in general.
Oh,
the idea of someone going and then the other partner like worrying about them. I think that's gonna happen no matter where.
Yeah,
you're going alone. Yeah.
I know people in couples where one person travels solo, and I feel like there's different reactions. Some outside observers think that's really bizarre. Like, oh, why don't you want to travel with your partner?
But like outside observers are fucking annoying because they
don't know anything.
They're not especially on the internet when like someone's flying somewhere and then the comments are like, why didn't so-and-so go with you? They hate you. Do they hate you? And it's like, fucking chill. Like, you have no idea why this person is going this place. What for? Did the people have the discussion? Was there a reason why one person stayed behind? Like, no one knows anything. And they're so annoying. Okay, anyway, sorry, go on.
But I think it's because, like, most normies, I think I'm in this camp. Because, like, we travel is not something we haven't... I would like to travel more than you would, right? We've acknowledged this. And that's fine. And I could just travel alone if I wanted to. But I would rather travel with you. So I have trouble relating to the people who are just like, I'm just going to go spend 2 months in Central America.
Like your brother.
Do we want to call him out? My brother is someone who likes traveling, and he travels alone. He's talked about it on the podcast
before, that he loves travel. He goes all sorts of places, and he'll go for like weeks at a time or a month. And
his girlfriend seems cool with it.
But it's between those two people. And maybe if you like traveling alone and you just want to do that and your partner's like not as much into it, then it's like totally fine for one partner. Just be like, hey, I'm going to do this. As long as both parties agree and think it's cool. But this is like a fresh relationship. It's been a month.
This isn't even a relationship.
This is
I'm closer to like the guy at the sandwich shop down the road that makes my sandwich than these people are dating for a month.
Would you travel with them?
I'd think about it.
With the sandwich maker. Yeah.
Okay. Would you ever travel alone?
It doesn't interest me from an excitement perspective. Like,
you could have
like
said no.
Like someone like your brother who's like, oh, I love the idea of just going on my own. Because then, okay, I can try and understand why someone likes to do that if they don't want to have to worry about other people and they could just do exactly what they wanted. Then they might find joy in traveling alone. So like, I can understand that. Because you don't have to worry about other people. You don't have to worry about like, let's go to this event because this person wants to.
Let's say you wanted to travel somewhere alone. Just pretend for a second. But I was like, oh, I don't feel good about that. I don't want you to go.
But why wouldn't I want you to come?
I don't know.
You're like, I want to go alone. You're not allowed to come.
You should just be able to do things.
It's different because she invited her 1 month boyfriend. So she was like, I would like you to, you could come.
There was no preventing you from being there.
It wasn't like, you're not allowed to come. I'm going alone.
Yeah, that is a big difference, actually.
Yes.
But let's say even if you did say, like, no, this is just a kind of personal thing I want to do. Because, like, this is an example of young people who barely know each other. But Sorry, it doesn't matter that they're young. They've barely been dating, is my point. But like,
They're not that young. Like Ben's like
they're
28,
young.
so young.
You keep calling people old
No, I
who
know.
are young.
Just myself.
I'm not going to call you out.
Stop.
We were in a meeting.
Stop. I don't want to be reminded. Go on.
Okay, never mind. I've saw a lot of examples like this when I was searching for these posts. And there was one from like this mom. You know, she's got a husband, a few kids. And for her birthday, she just wanted to take a vacation alone. Like, hey, husband, could you just look after the kids? And I want to just go do some selfish vacation time for my birthday. And he was not happy about that. I don't remember the other details about the post, but that to me, maybe that's a more interesting example than this one, honestly. Because I think it's totally fair if like that's something, if traveling alone is something you really get a lot out of and really value, I don't think that's a problem. Unless it was like that was always, like you were always wanting to exclude the family or the people you love from it, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about that
I
one.
think like the one-off, hey, I'd really like some peace and quiet and I'd like you to babysit the children. And so I'm going to go for my birthday. I don't see why you would resent that so hard. But if it was like this is the time of year we normally go on family vacations, but actually I'm going to go alone and you're going to, you know, whatever. Then that's kind of feeling like intentionally divisive.
Yeah. Anyway, I just have trouble relating to this one.
Yeah, me neither. We'll ask your brother.
Your brother. All right, next one. Am I the asshole for not helping a mom pick up a toy for her child on the airplane? I recently... Christine, you're worried about this one. People think we hate babies. We don't hate babies.
Just for me, I hate babies.
Because you want to clarify what you mean?
Sorry, I mean, I don't like the idea of me having a baby.
I just want to be clear. We don't hate babies, Christine. I hate babies.
I mean, for me, in my life circle, like my own baby.
Just say,
I hate the idea.
I hate the idea of
That's
me
what I
having
meant.
a baby.
I'm
Is that what you mean?
communicating.
Apparently.
Okay, sorry. Just go on.
Okay. I recently flew and paid an extra for one of those more spacious seats on the plane. A mother and a child were sat behind me, and from the start of the flight, her kid, about 5 or 6 years old, kept throwing his toy over my seat and into the space in front of me. First 2 times I picked it up and gave it back to the kid. The third time I kindly asked the mother to stop her kid from throwing it over. It was a total nuisance, and he actually hit me in the head the second time. Mom rolled her eyes at me and told me that her kid was just acting like a kid. I told her that if he did it again, I wouldn't pick up the toy. Lo and behold, he threw it over a 4th time, and this time I totally ignored the toy. I put on my headphones and just pretended I didn't notice. The mom tried to get my attention, but I pretended to sleep. Within several minutes, the kid started to wail and freak out. The mom ended up having to call a flight attendant over to get the toy. Her kid did it again, but because it took a while for the flight attendant to get there, both times the kid was wigging out while waiting for the toy. I heard the mom finally put the toy away, and she gave her son an iPad, which he didn't throw. Anyways, after the flight, mom started to lecture me in line, saying I was the asshole for making the flight so difficult for her and her kid. I told her that she's responsible for her kid and that I wasn't a babysitter or a butler, and she was the rude one to expect me to keep picking up her kid's toy. Plus, I actually went to sleep at one point, so I don't know what she expected. One of my friends has kids, and she thought I was being unreasonable, so I'm not sure anymore. I can be honest and say that I don't have kids. I understand it's difficult traveling with them, but I've never experienced it myself, so I'm not sure if I was the asshole or not. So to put this in context, not that long ago, we had a conversation about babies on planes that I think I said something that rubbed people a little bit the wrong way. I do want to clarify that, like...
I think you said ban babies from planes.
I did not say ban.
You said it later as a joke.
I was joking.
I know.
I don't actually think you should ban all children from planes.
Yeah.
But I was just sort of wondering, like, sometimes you see people traveling with very young babies, and it's like the baby is getting nothing out of that trip. So I was just sort of asking, you know, are they just bringing it because they don't have childcare? Totally legitimate. Or you want to introduce your baby to a family member, where it's like it's more about you and the family. Like a 1-year-old baby
Yeah.
isn't going to remember a trip somewhere, right? So it's just like, who is the trip for?
I think like I understand why your head was like, what is it? Let's explore. But I think a lot of people who are young parents, or not, sorry, just parents at all, were like, this is bad because it makes us feel like we shouldn't bring our babies on planes.
Yeah, and that's unfair.
That's not something we ever wanted to make people feel like. You know, we're just people without children, like just sitting here like, I don't know what, like whatever, you know?
And in my experience, when I've seen babies on planes or when you have like a crying baby on a plane, usually the parents are the people who feel
The worst.
about that. Like they realize everyone else is having to deal with that, right?
Most of the time, I would think that's the case. And you can usually tell just by observing their behavior. Like they're trying to calm their child down. They're saying things to their child. Like usually that's what happens. And just like the odd time, the exception is a parent who's like, I don't care.
And to me, that is like the super important distinction here.
Yeah.
Because when I've been on planes with crying babies, like I'm not sitting there getting all mad about it and like screaming back at the
You're
baby.
not going to
or-
say anything to
I'm
the
not gonna
baby.
say- no, of course
The baby's not going to listen anyways.
No, I am empathetic to that situation. Like, hey, that must be a stressful thing. But when you have someone more like in this example described, where the parent just like doesn't really give a shit, where it's just like, yeah, my kid can throw a toy at you and hit you in the head. That is where like all of my empathy and understanding ends, right?
Is this not just a case of, again, person who does not know personally, of like maybe the parent, the mother, right? Yeah, the mom, was just like, they're so used to their child not listening to them that they just kind of give up. So they said once to the kid, like, hey, don't throw the toy. And then the kid just kept doing it. And then she's like, fuck it, I don't care.
I feel like there just has to be a standard that exists outside of like what you have decided is right for your kid. Like maybe you think it's okay for your kid to just like run around naked screaming, right? But that doesn't mean you can get on a plane and your kid can just behave like that around other people in a confined space. So you might have decided that your kids can just like throw toys at people, but that doesn't mean other people have to be okay with that, right?
Yeah.
There has to be some reasonable limit.
But this also just comes down to parenting, which is something I know absolutely nothing about. So like if someone tries to, you know, discipline their child appropriately to not do things like throw toys in people's faces, maybe it doesn't always work. Maybe they're more lax about it. Maybe they think it's funny or cute if it hasn't actually resulted in harm. So like the styles of parenting are different, but when you get on a plane or anywhere where there's a whole bunch of other people who are not your family or people normally involved in that child's life, you're right. It does kind of call into question that parenting style. Does it adapt appropriately to the environment outside of your house?
If you were on a plane and a 40-year-old man
Okay, well that's different.
was pulling out a
throwing.
toy truck and throwing it at people and hitting them in the head,
That's not the same.
they would duct tape that guy to the seat.
They would turn the plane around.
They would turn the plane
Arrest
around.
him.
Emergency landing.
Yeah, but they won't do that to a child because children don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they, you know, have that excuse. But the mother is like something I don't know if we have enough information. Like, was she actively trying to tell her child not to stop doing that? And even if she was doing that and the child was just not listening, what do you do?
I don't know.
Like, what would you do? And the poster just said that they returned the toy 3 times and then stopped doing it because they're like,
I'm
dude,
keeping that toy after the second time. It's my toy
you're
now.
playing with it now.
I'm
It's my yeah, you want this too fucking bad. Just play with it in the kid's face.
I'd be interested in hearing a
From the
flight. Let's interview the child.
Yeah, let's interrogate the
Why
child.
are you such a piece of shit?
Behave or I'll throw your toy off this plane right now.
Why are you so unable to regulate your behavior? Is it because you're only 3 years old?
People will think you're serious.
I'm kidding. I would like to hear what a flight attendant thinks about this. If there are any flight
Yes.
attendants in the audience,
They are the experts because they are the experts of the air.
well, they are
regulating behavior in the air.
Yeah, it is their space, right? At the end of the day, the captain or the pilot, I guess, has ultimate say over what
Yeah,
is or
but
isn't.
flight attendants are basically like customer service for the airplane, you know, while you're flying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd absolutely want to hear if there's any flight attendants. What would you do in this case where the child kept throwing a toy at a different client on board, right? This is like, it's a customer annoying another customer.
Yeah, there's got to be guidance. And again, like we're talking about, there's a difference between like, yeah, babies are going to cry or make noise or smell bad and poop their pants. Babies do a lot of annoying things. But like there's a difference between that and like actively like throwing things at other people or, you know, like where is that threshold where the behavior is something where like other people have to say something
but
or
also
intervene?
like what can you do with a child? Like, I mean, maybe strategically, if the mother saying things isn't changing the child's behavior, strategically, it might actually be helpful for a flight attendant to come over. So it looks like someone new, little bit like authoritative, coming in saying like, excuse me, young man, we're going to have to take, you know what I mean? It might actually scare the child and actually work.
So the answer is to scare the child.
Well, I don't mean, you know what I mean? But like, it could work if the parent's guidance is not working.
If I'm in this person's position, I'm not trying to deal with the mom and the kid directly.
Yeah.
I'm probably, after like that toy's been thrown a few times, I'm probably calling someone over and just being like, hey, like I keep getting hit by a toy from the people behind me.
They keep throwing it over. I know. I hate conflict, and I'd probably, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably just freeze and dissociate, which is like not what I should do if I'm thinking logically. But knowing me, I would probably be like, this is giving me anxiety. I don't know what to do. A kid keeps throwing.
Well,
I don't want to engage.
You can't have a fight or flight response. You can't fight the child.
We're already on a flight.
And your flight,
We're already on
can't
one.
leave the plane.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to
We're
fly.
on a flight and nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I would probably ask you. I'd be like, Ben,
to do what? To
help me.
Keep the toy.
No, I would ask you to put the toy back and talk to the mother. And I can't do it.
The rest of the flight, I'm just like, choo choo.
No, I do think, asking the flight attendant for assistance in a respectful way without getting mad is probably the best bet for someone who just doesn't want to have to engage directly with a child who keeps throwing shit at them. Like, I get it, you know? And not everyone is a parent or thinks it's funny or a game for, you know, to engage with the child. Like, there's some people who would sit there and be like, oh, I don't mind. I would pick up the toy 87 times. The child's cute. There's absolutely some people like that. But then there's other people, maybe they don't have kids. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they just want peace and relaxation because they're trying to fly somewhere. Maybe they're busy, you know, or whatever it is. And they don't want to have to deal with it. And I feel like it'd be appropriate for those people to ask the flight attendant for like, hey, this is happening. What can we do?
And I think we're similar in that. It's like a pretty high threshold before we'd even think about this.
Right, because it's basically like asking for help to regulate the conflict. Whereas I would probably deny that there's conflict for as long as possible.
But I'm just saying, just so people with kids understand, like, I think we live in a society with children in it. It's not like I'm saying I should never be exposed to, like, a baby screaming or, you know, just babies doing baby things, right? Again, to me, it comes back to, like, if the parent is making no effort to preventing their child from being obviously disruptive and making everything much worse for everything around them, that is the main thing I think of when I think about whether they're being reasonable or not.
Yeah, I think that's a huge factor. But it also, like, if the mother had been trying to stop their child from throwing and it didn't do anything. And
but that to me would make all the difference in the world, honestly. Even if the toy kept coming over, but I could tell the mom either A, felt bad about it, or B, was at least like trying to at least in some small way prevent that from happening.
You would just keep passing over.
Honestly, I would be like, hey, I totally get it. It must be really hard traveling with a kid. I feel bad for you. Yeah. Hey, maybe if I hand that toy back, the kid will be less disruptive. Right? But to me, it's the mom's attitude of like, kids can throw toys at people. Deal with it, buddy.
And then lecture you.
Yeah, that's what bothers me about this.
Yeah, that's really not appropriate.
Is this a reasonable take, or people are going to hate me again?
No, I think they'll like you for that one. I think I'm really not I would not be able to handle that, if I'm being really honest. I would not be able to engage multiple times back and forth and keep giving the toy. Like, it would give me a lot of anxiety if there's a kid just like peeking over the seat, staring at me and throwing toys at me. Yeah. I'm just, that's just not me. Not that I want to be rude or cruel to the child. I'd probably like try and leave which is impossible. But like I'd
Right.
probably like get up, go to the bathroom.
Is there another seat?
And it's
Yeah.
for like my own anxiety because I don't want to have to deal with that conflict, but I don't want to hurt anyone or cause any problems. So I'd be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Maybe the child will forget about throwing things at me. Maybe I would ask a flight attendant eventually, but yeah, it would probably cause me a lot of stress. But I also know that that parent would be under a lot of stress. So everyone's under stress except the child, who seems to be having the time of their lives.
Yeah. Everyone sucks. Next one.
Okay.
Let's do this one. Am I the asshole if I took an unattended poolside lounge chair at a resort and the person who called dibs on it came back 40 minutes later asking me to get off and I said no? Well, that's like the whole scenario here. Actually, I'm not even going to read this one because it has a bunch of oddly specific details that don't really matter. You're at a hotel. You're at a resort.
Okay.
There are lounge chairs there. No one's there for a long time, 40 minutes, but there's just like a towel there. And you're like, well, I'm just going to take this chair. This is where I want to sit. And 40 minutes later, someone comes up and says, hey, I reserved that chair by putting a towel down on it. Who's right? Should you give up the chair to that person? Or are you like, no, you don't get to, there's no policy about reserving lounge chairs here?
Was it, not that this matters, but I would like to know for context. Was it just like,
You would like to know.
was
for
it their,
context.
was it their towel, like their
They
property?
put the towel there.
But is it their property or is it a hotel provided towel?
Let's say hotel provided, but that's actually an interesting
Well, that's
point.
different. I actually think there is a difference.
Okay, so give me the answer there, whether
Okay.
it's hotel
Well,
provided towel or they
I
left.
don't know that it changes my answer, but
Okay.
it does. If it's a hotel provided towel, no, you can fuck off.
Okay, they can fuck off.
Because the person who sat in the chair had no way of reasonably knowing that anyone else had claimed it. Because there's hotel, stuff everywhere. It doesn't look like anyone else's property.
I see. But
So
let's say
I had no reasonable way of knowing this. So just like, that's why you can't come at me.
okay, so let's say it's someone left their hat. There's a Holo Taco Dad hat
Could only be yours.
available at www.holotaco.com.
Oh, nice one.
Right? So let's say someone left their hat on a chair. And then
It's a cool hat. I'd steal it.
just take it. But they're not there for an hour. And then they just come back and they're like, I left my hat here.
I'd be like, here you go.
Here's your hat.
Yeah.
You can have your hat back. Right? Like there has to be, for me, the only struggle is like, what is the threshold? Because like, if I have my stuff at a chair and I leave for 5 minutes to like go to the bathroom, I should be able to come back and that chair
Be
is
like,
still there
oh,
for me.
sorry, I was just sitting there. I just ran to the bathroom.
Yeah, I was gone for
something.
5 minutes.
Is it just one person saying they claimed one chair? Like, was
I
that
think this is
context
a
in
problem
it?
because like at certain resorts where like, hey, like I want a really nice spot on the beach in the afternoon, but I'll just go in the morning, leave all my stuff on a chair, fuck off for 3 hours, and then come back and expect my chair to be there, right?
Yeah.
That's something I feel like you just can't allow. And I think it's really up to like the hotel or resort to sort of.
But like, how are you going to prove how long ago they left their stuff? Like, is there security cameras? Because what if it's like parking? You know how parking, it's like you can only park for 1 hour on the street.
Yeah.
There should be a same rule.
Someone should come by with
reserving
chalk.
chairs. Yeah.
They should mark your stuff on
like
your
how
chair
long you've been there.
to see if it's moved.
Like a parking agent, except it's a beach lounge chair agent.
This is a super like logical way of dealing with it.
It's the only way to measure and decide where the cutoff is.
So you should have to rent for a specific amount of time.
I feel like
the
it's
chair on the
reasonable to
beach.
mark that, hey, I'm actively sitting there, but I'm going to the washroom, but I'm going to get a drink, but I'm going back to the room very briefly.
But it needs to be actively sitting there.
Right.
However we define that. That is not, I'm
well-
going to go have breakfast and come back and expect my
I
chair
think
to
it's
still
like
be there.
80% of the time that, okay, since you started sitting there, you have spent 80% of the time up until the point of evaluation in that chair. So you can spend 20% so far.
80%.
Yeah, like if you went to the bathroom or you went to pick something up. I feel like that this won't necessarily
So could
scale with time.
I could bank my time. If I spent a long time there in the morning, I could take a long break and then come back to it still.
Well, does it represent 20% of the time you've already been there?
Maybe if I spent a long time there before.
Like all day.
Yeah.
But then it's only, you get like an hour or two off.
I don't think that's sustainable. I think
Yeah, I'm not sure it scales. I'd have to, maybe like it switches and there's like a staggered approach. You know, we have to change the methodology. depending on how long.
It's much like this is totally disadvantages people traveling alone. But I would say it's probably much easier to just figure this out in a group where you're not all leaving your chairs.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge difference if like one person is sitting there with 4 chairs and the other 3 have stuff on it. And the person's like, oh yeah, my friends are sitting there. They've just left for a little bit. Because then no one's swooping in and being like, I don't care, and just sitting in those chairs. No normal people would do that, I think. So I think there's also like maybe an unfair difference that happens here if there's at least one member of a group who is staying with the chairs as well.
I also think it's important to consider the conflict and whether it's worth it. Because if this was me and I went to the bathroom even and someone was sitting in my chair, I would just leave.
You're so non-confrontational.
I am not. I mean, unless all my friends were beside, which is weird because they would have said someone's sitting there. But like, let's say it's not that and it's just me. I would, no, okay, I'll find a new chair. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to ask someone.
It depends how worth it is.
Yep, it's not worth it to me at all.
Well, and if there's another chair like 5 feet away, that's just as good. Like, who cares?
And the inverse is also true. If I notice any belongings that don't look like a hotel towel, if I notice like that belongs to a person that is not just hotel property, I am not sitting in that chair. I would never go sit in a chair or anything that looks like it has a purse on it, a unique towel that could be tied to like one individual. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So I wouldn't even ever be in this situation unless someone did it to me and because I had gone to the bathroom.
What if the only thing in the chair is a child's toy and you're like, let me take this so they can't throw it at me later?
No, I would stay far from that chair.
You're clear of that chair.
Anytime there's any object on a chair, I'm like, let's go to the cleanest beach chair ever that doesn't have any sign of people. No sign of person.
Okay, let's do 2 more. Am I the asshole for getting up and lining up to exit the airplane before the people in front of me got up?
How do you do that?
I just got off a Southwest flight, no seat assignments. I was sat towards the very back of the plane when we landed. People at the front got up, ready to go. People at the front got up to get ready, but no one was in the middle section. No one in the middle section got up. I was in the aisle seat and I only had a backpack, so I took the opportunity and walked to the very front of the plane to line up behind the people in the very front. While I was waiting to exit the airplane, the person sitting in the seat next to where I was standing asked me, have the rules changed? And I pretended not to hear him because I had headphones on and I didn't say anything to him. Then he got up and said, why don't you go back to the back and wait like everyone else? I didn't respond again, but this time there was a lady behind me who said she needed to catch her connecting flight that was already boarding. The guy then said, well, the rules haven't changed, but if you want to be a jerk, go ahead. The lady who had the connecting flight definitely had a valid reason to cut the line, but when was this ever a rule? Well, I don't think I did anything wrong because everyone who I skipped could have gotten up and waited in the aisle. So am I the asshole here? What are I think there are unwritten rules.
But why is this even possible? Because every flight I've ever been on, it's
people
like,
immediately just get up.
Yeah, but the pilot's like, please remain seated until the seatbelt sign comes off. So and then like it goes bing. Everyone stands up in the aisle, so you're already in the order of the plane.
It's very difficult for me to believe that this guy was able to make it from
marathon
the
running
back
up, sprinting
to the front
up to before
with
anyone's
no one
standing up
in between
the aisle?
standing up in the aisle. It doesn't make a lot of sense
unless he did it before the seatbelt sign went off, which is yes, that's against the rules because the pilot's like sit the fuck down until I turn this off.
So isn't the unwritten rule or whatever you want to call it that like you depart the plane
in the order of
in
the
the
seats.
order front to back from the exit, right?
Yeah.
Everyone just sort of knows this and respects this.
But it's not even they respect it because that's the only real way it can unfold.
Well, no, it can unfold in chaos with everyone just pushing their way to try to get off first.
Yeah, but assuming you're not doing harassment or physical altercations and like literally physically pushing through people, if everyone just stands up at the same time, which they always do, you're already in the order to get off the plane in that order.
Yeah. But I've definitely been on planes where like we were traveling somewhere once and I'm in the aisle, you're in the window.
Oh yeah, and someone tried to step in front of us. Yeah.
Well, they stepped like in between us and then you like scooched past them and they kind of got mad at you. Yeah. It was pretty weird.
That was really fucking weird.
That?
And I was like, what the fuck? And then she started saying things to me and then I just stopped talking and ran away off the plane.
Yeah. So
but like we were both sitting together. So the normal course of business is like the two people sitting together get off together, and then the next two people, right? Like, because you assume you're with someone.
They were just like in the row just behind us, but I guess they saw a small opportunity in between me getting into the aisle and you getting into the aisle that they just like filled that gap
and went in between us.
Yeah. And you're an anxious traveler, so you were just like,
I was like, what?
So you like pushed your way back to get to me.
But I didn't push them. I was already standing in the aisle and they tried to push past me, but I thought you were leaving. So I just like went ahead. It was really like, I don't even actually remember exactly, but I was in the aisle because I was getting my stuff off the chair. So I was like clearly right about to go next. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like, I don't like conflict.
I know.
So like,
that's the theme
she
of
started
this episode.
saying things to me, and I just like didn't answer basically I was just like, sorry, like I don't know what else to say to you, but like I was trying to follow you.
But they violated the unwritten rules. I think the only exception is the one this guy already calls out, which is like, I've been on planes before where someone goes like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna make my connection, and like maybe they say this kind of like so people can hear, or they literally say it to the flight attendant, and the flight attendant like helps get them off the plane quicker. That to me is totally reasonable, and I'm not upset about that at all. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
So this person is an asshole.
Yes.
Okay. Last one. Am I the asshole for refusing to share my Sky Miles or hotel points with family? I do a lot of business travel for work with monthly trips between the US and Asia, as well as domestic travel. In doing all of this travel, I accumulate Sky Miles and hotel points quite quickly, and I usually have enough stocked away for a few trips. I try to keep enough where if I can take some pretty exotic vacations and can take trips whenever I want. I can easily afford these trips on their own, but getting them for free is an added bonus. Lately, some of my siblings have been inquiring about how much I actually have and have been asking to use my points so they can take free trips too. They all have their own families and successful careers. I think they should be responsible for booking their own flights. As an example, my brother-in-law asked me to book him a flight to a job interview, and my sister asked to use my hotel points to travel for my nephew's baseball game. When I told them no, they acted like I was being stingy and that I can easily build them back up before my next trip. Obviously not the asshole.
I don't understand. They're his? Jeez, I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
They're the poster's points. The poster did things and in return for that spend got points. They are the poster's points.
Yeah. So my dad has a lot of points, and sometimes he gifts them to me or my siblings.
That's nice.
That's happened before. It's nice. Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
It's not necessary.
If I were to go to him and be like, "Give me your points," that's totally different. Like, there's a big difference between someone offering a nice gesture or gift and you asking for a gift. It's not a gift if you have to ask for it, I think.
It could just be like a pattern of behavior in this family, though. Like maybe they just expect you to do this because other things have been done in the past, which is just terrible logic. I hate that. Like, stop doing that to people. If someone gives you a gift or is being nice, that doesn't mean you are owed it in perpetuity or equivalent to it.
It's the entitlement for me.
Yeah, it's giving entitlement.
It's giving entitlement. Mother is mothering.
What?
What do kids say these days?
They do say that.
They say mother is mothering.
Where'd you pick that up from?
I don't know.
I am their mother. That's
Are
what
you?
They say.
Are you mothering?
They say Christina's mother, except not on a plane.
If you're a mom, are you giving them air miles? Or?
I mean, if you want to give your children air miles, you can. I don't know.
What are we gonna do with our points?
I don't know.
We got some
points.
trial air.
Yeah, we should give them
points.
away to subscribers.
Your giveaway.
Just kidding. Air miles giveaway.
Yeah, I feel like there'll be a point in our life where we're not traveling for work as much.
So we have to save them.
Yeah.
It's the most economical thing is to save them, right? And just never use them. We'll die with our points. We won't realize it. Oh no.
You can't be buried with your air mile points.
Yeah.
Bury me with my gold Aeroplan card.
Do you put that in your will? Like, I give any points I may have to.
Pretty sure your points die with you.
Do they? That sucks. I feel like you should be able to assign it to someone.
It's not like you have a bank account full of points.
Well, you have an account full of points. You just have to make sure, maybe you got to like convert them to cash before you die. You got to think about that.
You got to see it coming.
Yeah.
But it's that this is, you could say this about any reward program. You think people should be able to give their Holo Taco rewards program points?
If someone takes over your account, then they're the new account holders points. Yes.
I guess that's true. So in your will, I guess you have to describe like, here are all my coupons and rewards
and
programs.
You say, I give this one to this person, this one to this person. Here's my password. Like,
yeah, I
here
guess
you
so.
go. Why not?
Actually, that's the thing a lot of people I think forget in estate planning. Like, here's a list of like all my accounts and how to get into them.
Yeah, you got to do like your social media accounts too. And all
Basically,
your points
right?
plan. Like, here's my Instagram.
Yeah.
Here's my 7 Instagrams. Here's my TikTok.
Do you have that? Who gets your accounts if you die?
You.
I get them?
Yeah.
What would I do with them?
I hope nothing.
Oh, just stop.
Just stop.
Yeah. So why would I need access to them?
To make sure that someone does, and just in case. You never know.
Do you want my accounts if I die?
Do you know how much value they hold? How valuable are these?
I don't think they're
accounts?
very valuable.
Okay.
But you could have fun with them.
And do what, Ben? Just post bananas.
Pretend it's me from the grave
Shut
beyond.
That's so morbid, Ben. Okay, well, I hope you guys have a good Taco Tuesday.
I can hear you so well today. It's kind of freaking me out.
Oh, I'm scared. Now you're gonna hear me
I
mutter
can hear.
under my
I can
breath.
hear everything you're saying.
Now when I'm like, fuck, Ben,
I can hear
fuck
what
her.
you're thinking.
Stop.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
That you don't want my social media accounts when I die.
Ben, you don't even use your social media accounts.
What accounts?
I don't know.
I posted a TikTok the other day on Instagram.
You stole it from me.
Yeah, thank you for making that.
I've spent so long making a really
such a good job.
montage of our
Yeah.
vacation with the vacation collection.
It made me so happy watching it.
And I was
back.
showing them to Ben to get approvals. And then he just took it and posted it on his account. But it's supposed to be for Holo Taco. So now when Holo Taco posts it, people will be like, oh, I've seen this before.
No, no one watches mine.
Don't go to Ben's Instagram account. I would like you to pretend like you saw it for the first time from Holo Taco. Fuck. You're a content stealer. Make your own content.
I could just react to your content
Like on stream?
in life.
Okay.
Just with no one around, I could just react to it.
Yeah, now that you can hear things better,
Yeah.
you could listen to what's being said. And then
What should I
react to
use
it.
my super hearing power for now? Maybe I could like crack into safes. You could hear the clicks.
Only in The Last of Us.
You could do that in real life too. I could start robbing banks.
Shut up. No, Ben.
But you know what's gonna be worse?
What?
Screaming baby on a plane. I hear him even better now.
Oh my God. I
What if
just
I'm
realized
like
that.
put the wax
Put the
back in?
back. Don't. You're going to upset parents. Parents, we mean no harm, obviously. We're just people without children.
I'm just gonna see how long I can keep talking about earwax and robbing banks until you end the podcast, I think.
Okay. All right, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic Taco Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all later. Bye.